This right here is the DJI Phantom 4. The Phantom 4 is the newest Phantom in the DJI's Phantom lineup. This drone, or quadcopter as some people like to call them, comes with a camera on the bottom which is stabilized by a gimbal. It can do 4K video at up to 30 frames a second. It can do 12 megapixel stills with JPEGs or DNG RAW capabilities. Each rotor here on top has been maximized so that it gets the best flight time as possible. Along with that, the battery here on the back, it allows the drone to get upwards of 28 minutes of flight time, which is absolutely amazing compared to the previous generation's flight time of about 21 to 22 minutes. These drones have been maximized to be the most aerodynamic, most efficient, and they even unlocked a new mode called Sport Mode, which allows the drone to go upwards of 45 miles an hour. But I myself has gotten mine upwards of about 55 miles an hour with a tailwind, which is pretty fun to do. It reminded me a lot of how people use drones, example for racing them, which you may have even seen on TV at like the World Drone Grand Prix in Dubai, which that's something kind of cool. People have won upwards of $1 million. Personal drone usage today has become more popular than ever with the advent of what people like to consider drones like this DJI Phantom 4. They have become so low in price that they're available to almost anybody. Personal drone usage allows you to be the cinematographer and get just absolutely beautiful shots almost anywhere. For example, you could even make this gym in the SRC here at Bethel look nice with a drone shot. People like to use them for their own personal videos. They can use them for commercial work too, and just even make some beautiful shots, video as well as photo, look good from the air. Some of the earliest examples of electronically flown aircraft came in the late 19th century with hydrogen-filled blimps that were used in concert halls. Control aircraft today, as we know, it became a lot more popular in the early 2000s with the advent of smaller devices, smaller electronics, more powerful batteries, and just all-around advanced technology. Commercial usage for drones today is more popular than ever. A good example of this is shown in Hollywood. Hollywood will use drones to get very cinematic looking shots for their movies instead of having to hire out a full helicopter and camera crew. For example, with a drone, something like this, a little bit more advanced, you can get the same looking shots as you would on a helicopter for a fraction of the price. The fire department, as well too as police and government usage, has become more popular than ever. The fire department, for example, has used a drone locally in May 2016 to fight wildfires up in Alberta, Canada, to help trace the source of the wildfires. They can use these as well to, like law enforcement, the police would, by using FLIR cameras to sense different heat signatures where the fire may be burning the hottest, to address troubled issues, and to tell firefighters, hey, go to this location to put out the fire here first before maybe going somewhere else that'll be a lot lower of a risk, for example.
When looking up the latest news on personal drones, it doesn't take long to see headlines of crashes and controversies over who should own them and how they should be regulated. Some of the most recent headlines include drone crashes through window, hits man's head, 11-month-old hit in head by crashing drone, and on April 18th, a drone crashed into a plane at Heathrow Airport. With occurrences such as these, many have raised the argument that not enough is being done to regulate and control this growing industry. Up to this point, the FAA, or Federal Aviation Administration, has had policy statements that outline provisions for drone hobbyists. However, they can only strongly encourage people to follow these regulations that include fly below 400 feet and remain clear of surrounding obstacles. Keep the aircraft within visual line of sight at all times. Remain well clear of and do not interfere with manned aircraft operations. Don't fly within 5 miles of an airport unless you contact the airport and control tower before flying. Don't fly near people or stadiums. Don't fly an aircraft that weighs more than 55 pounds, and don't be careless or reckless with your unmanned aircraft. You could be fined for endangering people or other aircraft. Things are beginning to change. As of April 21st of this year, the Senate has passed a bill putting control of drone regulations fully into the hands of the FAA. The FAA is responsible for controlling all airspace and is currently working on developing its first drone regulations. The House must also pass a matching measure. These steps taken by Congress put the regulation of drone activity into control of the federal government, and regulation passed by the FAA will trump any current regulations that states have made. Senator Chuck Schumer of New York stated that in the Senate bill he inserted a tech-enabled safety provision. In a statement, Schumer said that geofencing drone technology could soon be installed on every new drone, helping to stop them from flying near airports and other sensitive areas, while still allowing hobbyists to fly them in safe places. As drones are a relatively new arrival to the tech scene and increasingly accessible to the general public, it is yet to be seen what their full impact will be and what the best options for regulating these uses are. As the capabilities of uses of drones progress, policies and regulations will have to change and progress with them.
It can be difficult to determine the exact number of drones that have been sold over the last few years, but based on the sales numbers from the top 3 companies, DJI, Parrot, and 3D Robotics, we can approximate. All of this leads us to believe that drone sales have jumped from a measly 300,000 drones sold in 2013 to 2.1 million drones sold in 2015. One of the best ways to gauge this dramatic growth is by looking at the sales for DJI, a Chinese drone company. In 2011, DJI made 4.2 million. This pales in comparison to their profits only 3 years later, 130 million. That's over a 3,000% increase. When most of us think about small drones, we picture a guy who flies them as a hobby. While drones are certainly popular with everyday consumers, they are also being applied in various industries. This is likely because of their inexpensive investment, with ease of use and amazing results. One logical place where we see drones being used is on film sets. Only a decade ago, if you wanted an aerial shot, you had to hire an entire helicopter and team. Today, all you need is a drone and a few people to fly it. The Wall Street Journal lays out the difference for us, saying, fees for a drone and crew start at $2,000 per day on a film set. The equivalent for a helicopter and team starts at $10,000. Today's drones are used in all kinds of movies. For example, the latest Fast and Furious film used a group of drones to follow a chase scene. On top of cinematography use, drones are finding a niche market in farming. Back in the day, farmers had to walk their own field every day to keep track of how plants were growing. A new company, SenseFly, has created an inexpensive drone that is easily programmable from a laptop. This drone will scout an entire field and provide invaluable data about the conditions. With the inclusion of RGB, near IR, and thermal cameras, these drones can retrieve as much data as you want. All of this data is compiled into a summary report about which plants need nutrients, water, etc., and which plants are ready to be harvested. This could change mass harvesting into a more automatic, efficient, and personalized plant-by-plant process. Yet another application for these drones is in environmental protection. Drones can be programmed to keep track of the number of animals in an area, form biomass estimations, map and model rivers to prevent flooding, and assess rock faces for dangerous loose rocks. All of these applications are amazing, but the most intense application yet could be coming to your local police department. Many police are considering using groups of drones for covert surveillance. The American Civil Liberties Union reported that interconnected drones could enable mass trafficking of vehicles and people in wide areas. Tiny drones could go completely unnoticed while peering into the window of a home or place of worship. While there is significant debate about how drones could or should be used for domestic surveillance, most people agree that they will require warrants, have limits on retention times of extraneous data, have no mounted weapons, and have clear, easy-to-find policies.
Drones are currently making a huge impact on society in areas such as environment and education. These devices are capturing news videos, assisting farmers, filming movies, providing disaster relief, and delivering packages. A professor at Ohio Wesleyan University has been experimenting firsthand how drones enhance the learning and teaching for students. Here are some ways that drones can be used for educational purposes in higher education. 1. Facilitate inspections of buildings and monitor construction projects. 2. Record footage of unique campus events. 3. Enable students' projects exploring the intersection between art and technology. 4. Enhance field projects such as studying wildlife and archaeological mapping. 5. Monitor agricultural and environmental conditions. 6. Teach courses on designing and building drones. Aside from higher education, drones are also making their way into K-12 education to assist in mapping out data from natural disasters and creating safe evacuation plans. drones are also impacting the environment. The agricultural industry has been advancing from the use of drones for environmental monitoring. Drones are able to collect data that assists in farming efficiency and helps to reduce the use of pesticides and fertilizers. The drones help farmers identify specific weeds and use a GPS tracker to target spraying. The world's largest agricultural company is using drones for these exact reasons and have committed to achieve zero deforestation. While drones are impacting education and the environment, they are also changing the business world. That's right. The most recent way we have seen drones impact the business world is through Amazon Prime Air. Amazon Prime Air is a drone delivery system which strives to have packages up to 5 pounds delivered in 30 minutes or less. However, Amazon's unmanned aerial delivery systems have been delayed as a result of the Federal Aviation Administration regulations. Since Amazon has an inability to research aerial delivery in the US, they began to test this new form of technology in the United Kingdom.
With the DJI Phantom 4 implemented into society, we could see massive changes in everything, everyday practices of businesses, police agencies, Amazon. Who knows? You know, they could be cutting down costs, bringing service to us at a cheaper cost, and even just making lives easier for us. One area where the government will need to have strong regulations is in regulating ground-to-air signals for drones. The regulations of invisible waves is similar to the government's regulations of FM radio waves. How did the government regulate these waves? And how are they going to regulate signals for drones? A problem can be created if the government does not regulate this aircraft. Drones may interfere with other drones, cause damage, or even death if reception is not sufficient. Drones retrieve the ability to play with remote-controlled vehicles. This form of entertainment was on the decline in the late 1990s, with remote-controlled cars being replaced by hot technologies such as TV and internet. While the flyable range on an average consumer drone is about 3 miles, there are just a few government regulations regarding how high one can fly to prevent crashes and, damage with birds and planes. But another one is you need to be able to see it with your naked eye, something that remote control cars really never had to worry about, because to know where you're going, you had to see it. While RC cars were the thing back in the day, they've been replaced by drones, and those drones, there's just so much endless possibilities, and man, we are in for such an amazing future.
Thanks, Josh. Drones are great because they provide perspectives that are very hard for humans to have access to.
Anyone who's watched a few minutes of CNN has probably seen that drones give the ability for high-definition video on the battlefield of our military. So why not take that technology and bring it to your backyard? Do you need a closer look of your chimney? What about of your gutters? Nothing like a repairman that's going to cost you a few $1,000s before you even know what's wrong. Drones are going to enter the consumer market for home security and for a closer look at home repair. However, this technology is available to thieves who are looking for entry points and easy ways into properties. On another note, Singapore is experiencing a boom in the food industry, but a major lull in workers. To narrow this gap, a new form of waiters are entering the world: drone waitresses. Yep, drones are becoming waiters. They can carry 4.4 pounds of food and drinks to your table. I'm just wondering, who do I tip? 4.4 pounds, you say? Well, that's enough to haul a pizza, and I'm happy with that. But what about getting pizza delivered to my house or my Amazon Prime order? I want my orders even faster. Drones are going to make an impact. It is also predicted that within the next 10 to 20 years, drone technology will begin replacing cargo planes. Also, they will begin replacing police and traffic helicopters. We're beginning to see drones replace security cameras and surveillance. You see, drones give the ability for 24/7 surveillance from a bird's eye view. Whether monitoring traffic speeds, catching people who run red lights, or surveillance of an area, there's nothing better than a bird's eye view. And it's just another way that police can watch you. But what's stopping them from looking in our windows and looking in our private property? What would our founding fathers say of this? At the end, who's really watching? That's all the time we have today. Thanks for watching.